Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video.
Let's do this.
In this video we are going to be taking a look at how the brand new Peppy Girls Eza'Ds do in the Cell Max event. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at just how good the three Eza'Ds are for the Peppy Girls team. So we're going to take a look at how good Tech Bulla is, we're going to take a look at how good Strength Chi-Chi is, and we're going to take a look at how good Int Ribrianne is. Now overall I actually think they all do pretty well. Bulla is going to be very dependent on her evasion. Whether she manages to evade the attacks or not is going to largely determine how well she performs. Chi-Chi, she's going to pretty much get blasted by Tech Cell or Tech Cell Max. Like, she's going to get absolutely owned. But that's not really her fault, so to say. Like, she does have probably the lowest cap in terms of defensive mitigation than all the other units. And then finally you have Int Ribrianne, who is probably the unit that I think is most likely to look the best here, just because of the fact that she stacks defense. She starts at a pretty good solid base. So yeah, I think overall she'll look the best. So obviously, you know, there is a little bit of a problem with the team. Videl's a great unit, but she does have a very low defensive cap ceiling for the current meta. So she being a double lead's not the best situation. It's not that she's terrible, she still has 50% evasion floating around, but she can be caught out like a little bit. Then you have the other rotations very strong, but a little bit RNG dependent. So Strength Kale is a very strong unit, but she does need to get a couple attacks in for her guard to really matter. And then same with the Tech Caulifla, who's very good, but she won't have her 100% evasion that she has against a lot of the game. So that is also something to factor in. But yeah, generally speaking, the units do pretty well. So we'll just kind of go through all of them. But Chi-Chi, just to recap, she's got attack and defense of 150%. She also has an additional attack of 20% at the start of each turn. She has an additional 50% attack when performing super attack. And she gives all allies 50% defense, and she gives Peppy Girls category allies 120% defense. She also has a medium chance of performing a critical hit, which is pretty good overall. The main thing about Chi-Chi is she has the lowest defensive cap out of all of them. She only has greatly raising, which is more than fine. But yeah, generally speaking, she's not going to be able to get to that super high defensive cap you need to tank normals from Cell Max. Ideally, if you were ever to run Chi-Chi in this team, it would be to take like one attack and just provide her defense to the rest of the rotation. So yeah. Then of course we also have the Int Ribrianne. Like I said, she's probably the unit I think will come out looking the best here. Ribrianne stacks attack and defense, which is fantastic, and she starts off pretty high. She kind of starts with like a pretty solid base, especially when you have all Peppy Girls category units on the team. She can have like a total boost of pretty sizable amounts, because she gains 20% attack and defense for every Peppy Girls category unit on the team. She's also a support for the category, which means she is elevating the rest of the units to actually look pretty good. Not to mention the fact that she can get her additionals to some extent on the first phase, so there is some kind of ability for her to stack pretty quickly. She also has naturally type advantage against the Tech Cell Max phase, so she does tend to look the best out of all of them, just because of her raw kind of base help that she has. She has that raw, overall like overarching base kind of improvement. So I think that's obviously something that's pretty helpful overall, and something that you're going to obviously benefit a lot from. And then finally Bulla. Bulla can look very good and very bad. Bulla has 70% evasion, So she can either dodge all the attacks or she's going to dodge 1 out of 3 and look terrible. Her defense after super is also okay, but very similar to Chi-Chi, isn't really going to be at the level required to take on Tech Cell Max. So now what we're going to do is we are going to skip ahead. We're going to look at how the units do against the Tech Cell Max phase. The first unit we're starting off with is Ribrianne. Ribrianne stacked pretty decently. She got close to the 400k mark. After one more super, she'll be there. She's going to have a little bit of support, but mainly attack based. In terms of her overall offense, pretty solid stuff, some good damage. And she took 30k on a normal, which is really honestly not bad at all. So 30k is not bad, 600k on the super is not bad at all. I think that's a pretty good sign of how good she is. She could stack a little bit more, a little bit less, defensive equipment, etc. But generally speaking, she does a pretty good job. Then we have Bulla. Bulla is going to tank a normal attack before she fires her super attack. And then after she fires her super attack, we're also going to see her evasion. So you can see the evasion coming in. After the super, her defense does go up quite a bit, but nothing really to handle Cell Max. 394k, 400k, that's a lot. Obviously Cell Max is hitting very hard, but Bulla, not really a unit that's got huge, defense, raw defense capabilities. If she doesn't evade, she's pretty poked. And then we come to Strength Chi-Chi. Strength Chi-Chi, lowest defense probably out of all of them, with no evasion. She's pretty low on the spectrum. It will come down after she supers, so she takes around 400 and then she drops all the way down to 346. So you can see that her defense does go up quite sizably, but she does take quite a bit of damage. And that's it, that's how they all do. I think overall, pretty interesting. I think Ribrianne's probably the one that's most interesting from a damage perspective, but yeah, the team's just not there yet. Bye.